In the deepest silence of the ancient world, far below the reach of sunlight, there existed places where life continued quietly beneath the earth. Places carved patiently into stone by human hands over centuries. Hidden not by accident, but by necessity. Where entire communities chose darkness over danger and stone over sky. And as you begin to drift into the calm rhythm of this story, imagine the sensation of descending slowly down a narrow passageway, the air growing cooler with every step, the sounds of the surface fading into nothingness, replaced only by the gentle echo of footsteps against rock, because long before modern cities stretched upward toward the clouds, some of humanity's most extraordinary settlements were built. Downward deep into the living earth where survival demanded silence and secrecy. And one of the most astonishing truths of ancient history is that thousands of people once lived their entire lives underground, eating, sleeping, praying, raising children, and aging in a world made entirely of stone. And these were not temporary shelters or simple caves, but vast underground cities with streets, rooms, ventilation systems, wells, kitchens, churches, schools, and defensive doors so heavy that a single stone will could seal an entire level from invasion. And nowhere is this more evident than beneath the soft volcanic rock of central Anatolia, where the earth itself became a sanctuary. And here, beneath what appears on the surface to be an ordinary landscape, lies a hidden world known today as Derinkiu, a subterranean city that descends more than 60 meters below ground, spreading across multiple levels, capable of sheltering an estimated 20,000 people along with their animals and food supplies. And yet Derinkiu is only one example of a much larger network of underground settlements, some connected by tunnels stretching for kilometers, forming a silent civilization beneath the earth that functioned for centuries, possibly even millennia. And as you imagine these spaces, carved slowly with simple tools, you begin to understand the patience required, the determination, the quiet resolve of people who chose to disappear from the surface world, not out of curiosity, but out of fear, because the ancient world was a dangerous place, filled with invading armies, religious persecution, and unpredictable violence. And for many communities, going underground was not a choice of comfort, but a strategy of survival. And the earth provided something the surface could not: protection, consistency, and silence. Underground temperatures remain stable throughout the year, cool in summer, warm in winter, making these cities naturally insulated, while carefully engineered ventilation shafts brought fresh air from above without revealing the presence of those below. And these shafts were so precisely designed that smoke from cooking fires could escape without betraying the city's location. And imagine living in a place where every sound mattered, where footsteps were measured, voices softened, and daily life unfolded in near silence, because detection could mean destruction. And yet, despite the darkness, these underground cities were not places of despair. They were organized, structured, and alive, with communal spaces where people gathered, stone benches carved into walls, storage rooms filled with grains and dried foods, one presses, all presses, and even schools where children learned in dimly lit chambers, their voices echoing gently against stone. And as generations passed, life underground became normal. Children were born who had never seen the open sky, whose understanding of the world was shaped by torchlight and stone ceilings. And for them, the underground city was not a hiding place, but simply home. And one of the most fascinating aspects of these subterranean settlements is the engineering knowledge they reveal. Knowledge passed down quietly through generations, allowing people to dig without collapse, to manage airflow, water supply, and waste to creator. Self-sustaining environment entirely beneath the earth and massive stone doors. Sometimes weighing several tons were placed at strategic points in the tunnels, rolled into position from the inside to block access during attacks, leaving only small holes through which defenders could observe or defend their city. And when danger passed, the doors would be rolled open again, allowing life to resume its slow, quiet rhythm. And this cycle repeated over centuries as waves of invasion came and went across the surface world, while below, the underground cities endured, adapting, expanding, and deepening. And historians believe that these cities were used by different civilizations over time, including the Phrygians, Romans, Byzantines, and early Christians, each leaving subtle marks within the stone, expanding tunnels, carving new rooms, adapting old spaces to new beliefs. And it is this continuity, this layered history beneath the earth, that makes these underground cities feel almost timeless, as though the stone itself remembers every footstep, every whispered prayer, every breath drawn in darkness. And when these cities were finally abandoned, when danger no longer demanded disappearance, they did not collapse or vanish. They simply slept, sealed quietly beneath the earth, waiting to be rediscovered centuries later. And when modern explorers first descended into these spaces, they were met not with chaos, but with order, with evidence of long-term habitation, with rooms still intact, walls still bearing the marks of tolls, ventilation shafts still functioning. And it became clear that this was not a forgotten experiment, but a proven way of life, sustained quietly beneath the surface. And as you continue to listen, allow your breathing to slow. Imagine the calm that must have existed in those deep chambers during the quiet hours, when torches flickered softly, shadows danced along stone walls, and the world above slept unaware that life continued below. And there's something profoundly calming about this idea that beneath the noise and chaos of the surface world, there existed places of stillness, of controlled silence, where survival depended not on conquest, but on patience, cooperation, and quiet entrance. And perhaps that is why these underground cities still capture our imagination today, because they remind us that humanity has always found ways to adapt, to retreat, to protect itself not through dominance, but through humility, by moving closer to the earth rather than rising above it. And as you drift further into relaxation, consider how different life must have felt without the sun, how time was measured not by daylight, but by routine, by communal rhythm, by the steady flow of air through stone shafts, and how sleep must have come easily in a world where darkness was constant and silence was valued. And now, as the story slowly settles, imagine yourself resting in one of these stone chambers, the temperature cool and steady, the air clean and quiet, the distant echoes of history surrounding you, and let that calm, ancient stillness guide you gently into sleep, knowing that long before us, others found peace and safety not in the light above, but in the quiet depths, below the earth,